So I wasn't going to go to NAMM this year. In fact, I saw a bunch of my favorite pedal builders in December, and I told them all I was going to miss them in January. And the why doesn't matter, but as you can probably guess, I ended up at NAMM, so let's talk about the best things I saw during my time in Southern California. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and I want to remind you that you matter and your rights matter, and no one can tell you otherwise. And just apologies if I sound or look a little under the weather, it's because I'm a little under the weather. My NAMM event recap starts before the trade show doors officially opened at the invite-only Fender Custom Shop event. This is something I had never attended before, but here's the gist. Fender's custom shop buyers, that's guitar shops, can see what felt like hundreds, or at least 100 or 200 Fender custom shop guitars. Each shop gets these little cards with their name on them, and if they see a guitar they'd like to buy and sell in their shop, they slip it into the strings. As you can see here, some guitars garnered a ton of interest. So how does Fender decide who gets to actually acquire the guitar to sell in their shop? It's a lottery. One by one, the cards go into a basket, one of those like with kind of like the wheels and people turn it, and a winner is selected. I hung out a bit with Ryan Burke while I was there, caught up with some Fender friends, and even saw the team from Thunder Road Guitars who are local to me. But I spent most of the evening hanging out with the complete gem of a human being, Andy Ferris, aka the Guitar Geek. He and I walked around and looked at nearly every guitar, and here were a few of my favorites. This first one is a great showcase of the card system. It's a heavily reliced Jazzmaster with some wild features. I think that's a kill switch, and it's built by Levi Perry. This was, as far as I could tell, one of the most popular builds of the night, possibly because it was one of the few Jazzmasters that I saw, but also because it's just sick. And what's that right next to it? It's another Levi Perry build, a Venus in a stunning silver flake finish. This was almost as popular from the looks of it, and I can understand why. Even if this doesn't immediately sell, which I imagine it will, it's the kind of guitar that can drive traffic to your shop. I mean, when was the last time you saw Venus? It's such a cult classic, and for good reason. I hope that the attention it got at this show increases the likelihood that we'll see a mass market Venus reissue sometime in the future. Speaking of reissues I'd like to see in the future, I've already talked about, I think it was nearly 2 years ago, the Squier 59 and how it's a sick guitar that needs to come back. This custom shop Jackson soloist took my breath away, and I know that Andy felt the same way. Again, this is officially a soloist, but I think you can see the similarities between it and the Squier 59. The pickguard is quite a bit smaller, and it only has the Seymour Duncan humbucker in the bridge, no single coil in the neck, but I'll be damned if I've ever wanted a Jackson guitar this badly. I don't know how well you could really tell this from my B-roll, but those abalone shark fin inlays are just gorgeous, and that relic surf sparkle is just really, really tasty. This was built by Big Rob Knowles, by the way. Oh, and for good measure, here's a few of the offsets. I had hoped that there would be more, but what the event lacked in quantity of offsets was made up for in the quality of these bass sixes and Jags. There were genuinely tons of Stratocasters and Telecasters. I'm not such a connoisseur of Strats, but this Purple Flake Tele appealed to my senses. There were a lot of great Telecasters to choose from, but this was an especially nice one. And I'm not sure if you saw in the background of those other clips, but the venue had a ton of killer classic cars. But my favorite thing, and I only have a still of this, is the big boy statue that was on display. But I wasn't a Bob's big boy person. Frisch's was my big boy chain, and I miss it dearly. That breakfast bar lives rent-free in my head. Oh, and one last thing. I did a little magic trick for the folks at Tom, and I think that they liked it because they ended up sharing it a couple of times on their Instagram page. All right, let's get into the actual NAMM show. Full disclosure, I didn't spend a ton of time on the NAMM floor this year. At least I didn't spend a ton of time walking around the NAMM floor. I did get out and about a bit, but the bulk of my time was spent helping Seymour Duncan film their NAMM floor content, which was genuinely a lot of fun. I got to meet some really, really cool people. And in case you missed it, Seymour himself showed up for the first time in years, and he was so generous with his time. It really felt like he, MJ from their custom shop, and others spoke with and took photos with pretty much anyone who asked. But don't feel too bad for me for being at the Seymour Duncan booth, because I got to catch some absolutely fire performances from Philip Sayce, Kiki Wong, and Chase Becker from Warbringer. I think I've seen Philip perform once. I believe he performed at the PRS event last year, and he was absolutely incredible, but it was really especially cool seeing Kiki perform a bunch of Smashing Pumpkins songs. I've been watching her on Instagram and TikTok for years, and she was just so incredible and so nice. Both of them did signings afterwards, and it was really cool to watch, especially Kiki. There were these young girls who showed up to watch her perform, and it just put a huge smile on my face, on Kiki's face. That's just the kind of thing that really sticks with you. That kind of thing stuck with me when I was a young girl, to see this absolute rock star who, like, is a woman. That was just like, yeah, it just really, really warmed my heart. It was just such a sweet moment, one of many sweet moments that I got to see there. And though I didn't get to spend a ton of time on the floor, I did get to walk around a good deal between videos. The Boutique Pedal Showcase was back, though I didn't really get to play anything. In fact, I didn't get to play a lot, but I got to spend some time in the silent pedal room upstairs. I don't know if y'all know Loki, the man behind PolyFX. I've known him for a few years, and he is genuinely one of the smartest, kindest, most interesting, and most well-dressed people I've ever met, and especially at NAMM. And I'm not kidding about the fashionable part. He and Joe, who's also from PolyFX, wore these matching pink jumpsuits, and Loki wore a full 3-piece suit under his. Just check that out.
Let's see it. A 3-piece suit.
With a cravat.
With a cravat. You are always the best dressed person at NAMM.
Every time.
That's incredible. But that's not the best part of PolyFX at NAMM. But that wasn't the best thing about PolyFX at NAMM. You have to see Hugo. You might have seen the behemoth console slash pedal slash audio interface slash everything. It's like a supercomputer for guitarists. You might have seen it online, but you really have to see it in person to grasp how enormous it is. With ADAT and stuff, I believe Loki said you could have a full 144 inputs. That's a gross of inputs on something that's like, it's pretty big, but man, it's smaller than my computer. In fact, here's a quick clip of Loki describing it himself, because I can't possibly do it justice. I apologize for some of the zooming, by the way. I was getting used to my new gimbal.
So, full door. So it's a full copy of Bitwig Producer. So, you can lay out tracks here like that. Tons of different plugins. Full mixing environment. I've got tons of tracks loaded. Play these in. Full multi-touch as well. I can draw tracks in. So that one says it's E and that one's D sharp.
Oh my god.
And then I got multi-touch actions on those, so I can move them around and stuff. Yep, that's that. And then, 10 knobs. So they're the same knobs that are on Kenzo, just came out.
Is that the Josh Smith?
Yeah, that's the Josh Smith signature.
Nice.
And then we've got a full DJ environment as well. So it can do tempo matching, it can do key matching, and you can use time-coded vinyl with it. You can load record box files in these front USBs. So that's a headphone output. And then it's got the full modular synthesis environment from Bebo. It's got sheet music stuff. It's got a full live streaming environment. So you can stream from it. You can stream video because you can plug, webcams or whatever into the USBs. It's got our new blockboard environment, which is like an easy to use. You can drag stuff around. Very easy to use. It's got all the features. It's got all the amps from our other ones.
From Ample and stuff?
Yep. And then it's got 24 ins, 24 outs, 4 mic pre's with phantom power, audio over Ethernet, so 120 other channels on there, MIDI in and out, ADAT in and out, expression. All of these are kind of also in expression pedals because they sense Z as well.
Really?
Sense up and down, yeah.
Whoa.
And then on the side, we have a 100-watt load box. 8-ohm 100-watt load.
Bananas. What a work of art.
While I didn't plug into Hugo, I did eventually get to plug into their new pedal, one of their new pedals, the Poly Trails, which is honestly sort of hard to explain. It has a wide array of, quote, unusual effects and sounds, including granular textures, vinyl-inspired delays, and like didgeridoo modeling and stuff like that too, which was incredibly cool and musical. And it had a lot more too. It's one of those pedals that is just so inspiring. Something that sounds weird on one hand, but is shockingly beautiful and usable once you actually hear it. And honestly, it didn't take very long at all to get into that musicality of it. No pressure, but I really, really hope I can get my hands on one. I'd love to show it to you all. It is phenomenal. I also caught up with my friends at the Ernie Ball Music Man booth, partially because I'd like to try a Stingray 2 and partially because they had 2 guitars from the Spinal Tap 2 film. They showed me Nigel's St. Vincent, which you can see on the screen here, which still had the little cheese grater in the back, and they had David St. Hubbins' Valentine model, which had a little chip at the top, which is how you know it's the one from the film, apparently. Seeing those 2 guitars was seriously one of the show's big highlights for me. I really enjoyed watching that movie. I got to see it in a theater full of local musicians, so we didn't have to worry about like bothering anybody. We could just say whatever we felt like saying. And I definitely found myself trying to identify as much of the gear as I could while I was watching that movie, and that just added another layer of fun to it for me. The other really cool thing I played at NAMM was this massive Boss pedal board. I was kind of in a bummed out mood just for various reasons, but I went to the Boss Roland room and saw that this beautiful exhibit was open, so I put on some headphones, picked up the guitar, and turned on every reverb and delay pedal, and I just spent 30-ish seconds just vibing out and feeling human again. And then all of a sudden I hear extremely loud gain. I turn around and some dude has turned on I think it was the metal zone or something like that. So I just turn it off and stare at him, just for him to like stare back kind of dead-eyed at me. So I finally said, "That really hurt my ears," and his eyes got wide and he's like, "Oh my God, the headphones, I wasn't even thinking about it." But yeah, I guess he just didn't realize I was listening to and playing the board. Like, what a goober. It kind of ruined my mood a little bit, to be honest. I could have gone back to it, but I just left. I needed to take a little walk around. I had somewhere to be, places to go, people to see. But don't feel too bad for me. I had a really good time. Other things I experienced at the NAMM show include a scary horse head thing at Third Man, a bunch of really pretty pedals, and these Mondrian-inspired builds from Doug Cower, which I'm just obsessed with. He did such a great job with those. And yeah, honestly, those are my NAMM highlights, and I guess a low light. At least for the show. The big reason is I was only at the show itself for Thursday and Friday. Saturday, I'd originally planned on hitting up the Woodwire Vault in the Effector Marketplace, but I got an invitation to attend Kiesel Connect to check out their new offset on Phil McKnight's recommendation. While I was sad to miss my friends at the Anaheim events, I feel like those were pretty well covered by a lot of my friends especially, so I hope that you check out their videos and content. And the opportunity to check out Kiesel, a brand that I'd never really been able to spend any time with at all, was frankly too good to pass up. So I spent an hour and a half in a Lyft and made my way to Escondido, California to try out their new offset, the Mark 66, for myself. The new Mark 66 is based on the Carvin, because Kiesel used to be Carvin, SGB. I'm told Mark Kiesel played one in high school, and that exact unit was on display in their showroom alongside a picture of Mark with that very guitar. Since I'm not sure I've ever played a Carvin or a Kiesel, I had no idea what to expect, but these were very nice guitars. You can get it with P90s, which are especially voice, and kind of a modern update on Mark Kiesel's personal offset. You can get it with P90s based on those, or humbuckers, though I've been told you can get a humbucker in the bridge and a P90 in the neck, which is personally what I preferred. It comes with a standard 25.5-inch scale length, or as a 30-inch scale length baritone. I didn't play the baritone, but I did demo 2 of the standard scale length versions at Kiesel, one with P90s and one with humbuckers, so be on the lookout for that video. Honestly, they simply felt like very nice guitars. They're obviously not jazz masters and they're not trying to be, but I can see them appealing to a crowd that generally wouldn't consider a Kiesel. And with a base price of about $1,650, that's a pretty accessible price point for a custom guitar. Obviously, you can add all sorts of bells and whistles, some of the really cool finishes, as Kiesel has a lot of those, plus expensive woods and touches like that can really get the price up there. Speaking of the custom finishes, just look at some of these guitars from the showroom. The spatter paints are so cool and aren't something I've ever considered before. And then there was this pink open grain guitar with white wood fill, and I just loved that. But yeah, Kiesel Connect was super cool, though it was a little bit cold outside. They had this big outdoor display of a bunch of their models over the years, obviously starting with the Carvin models. It was a great look at the past 80 years of the company, and it's hard to believe that they were founded back in 1946. I think they started as a pickup company, So to see their evolution just out in the open physically was really special. I also got to check out some great performances, including Grammy nominee Erica Gales, who's an absolute beast and an incredibly nice guy. I also got to take a factory tour with Phil McKnight and Macklin from the Kiesel team. I haven't run through that footage yet, but hopefully it's good enough to post up in the future. In fact, I'd actually like to do more stuff like that, get outside all the straight demos I've been doing. So if you'd like to see me take on more out of the box, or at least out of my house content, let me know in the comments. Overall, I had a great experience. I wish I'd gotten more pics with friends, but I did get a few. I ran into my friend and neighbor Greg from Recovery Effects, and got caught up on some cool Sennheiser happenings with my friend and former coworker Kirsten. Finally met Sadie Dupuis, who I had on the podcast back when Get Offset was a podcast, and more. Ultimately, I'm glad I went, and I'm extremely happy to be home. If you liked this video, check out the one on the screen, which YouTube has chosen just for you. Like, comment, subscribe, check out general affiliate links in the video description, and check out the Patreon if you feel like it. Thanks for watching, thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.